Hello everybody, this is Narada Rishi Raja with Sacred Vibes Holistic Center. I hope each and every one of you are enjoying your Kali Yuga today. Today I've got a fun topic to talk about. And what I want to talk about is why it's so hard to recognize an enlightened person. Even swamis and sages of old, they'll talk about how it takes an enlightened person to recognize an enlightened person. That's what it takes. It's the reason why those that truly get it, a lot of them don't talk about it. Because it's very hard to explain to somebody something that's not in their experience. So, enlightenment. A lot of people, they have this understanding that it's got to be something so drastic and so out of the ordinary, right? And that this person has to be on this certain floating level, right? Because we put it up on a pedestal. That's because we don't realize how easy it is. That's also the reason why we have so much resistance when we see it. Because if it is so easy, why can't we do it, right? Somebody in enlightenment, there's two different ways. There's enlightenment that's gained, where first you've developed an understanding that you are not an individual self. You are this collective whole. That's the preferred way. When you obtain enlightenment and you have this understanding, then you start to work for nothing else but truth and service for all. The other version is you've done the techniques, you've broken through the limbic system struggles, that amygdala. You've gotten through a big portion as far as the fear-based response of the ego. So you've liberated that portion, except you root it in the self. That's the other version of enlightenment. And one of two ways they go. In Vedic and yogic scripture, the second way, that would be called an asura. It's a demon. And yes, it's in human form. Right? And it all depends on whether or not you're able to gain that level of freedom from this system, and if you're rooted here as your identity or as everything as your identity. That's the difference between what's going to be beneficial to the whole, as far as beneficial as what most people would consider blessings, or it's going to add to the whole in the way of lessons. Right? So they hold these extreme energies on both sides. The reason why the enlightened individual that has dissolved their identity so they can be in service of everyone, the reason why that individual is not easily perceived is because everybody perceives that individual how they perceive God and how they understand God. Well, if they're not an enlightened individual, they haven't broke through, realized that they're not the body, they're not the mind, they haven't done all of this, then you're going to be antagonizing to them because their relationship with God is not strong. It's not. So, as an enlightened person, what do you experience? What do you feel? So you see all of the emotions just the same. You just don't attach to them as much. You live your entire life in service. Every decision is made based off of how you can serve. That level of accountability most people can't handle. So then there's a whole bunch of comparison game that they play, right? So as an enlightened person, what happens? You have to stand on your own. You have to stand on your own because others, it's not in their experience yet. So it's literally impossible for them to see you. A lot of people, when they first start to awaken, they get stuck in that. I was stuck in that for a long time. I really want to be seen. People need to know this stuff. And even now, each and every day I put out these videos, I put out my teachings, getting ready to open up this holistic center where we're going to do services, we're going to have amazing retail, and I'm going to be teaching 17 yoga classes a week on top of all of that, right? It's great. I love it. More in my life that I can serve. Perfect. That's a good thing. That's the good side, is that you just feel such a bliss. And there is no worry anymore. Because you know, you don't know, you no longer believe you know. The challenge is you can't bring everybody with you. So that's another, attachment that has to be transcended. But you can't bring everybody with you. So that means that some of the people that you try and help, they're not going to see it. Some of the teachings that you give, nobody's going to understand. And that's okay. Those that do will. They'll get it. They'll go to that next level. But everybody's going to relate to you how they relate with God in the moment. So be prepared. Be prepared to take that brunt for God's source. However it's defined, it doesn't matter. Take that brunt for it. When people, they're fed up, they don't have proper understanding, they're caught in avidya, they think this is their self, this is their self. Yeah, they're going to have challenges. They're not going to be able to understand you. And that's okay. When they're ready, they'll come around. May not be this lifetime. And that's okay too. Everything is perfect. All right, everybody. I hope this helps you understand some of the challenges and why it's difficult to recognize an enlightened person. And then also why it's also difficult and we're so resistant to such teachings that ring so true that have been around for thousands and thousands of years. It's all where we're at. That's why I always recommend the DMP, that daily mindfulness practice. It gets you closer and closer to being more receptive to understanding these things, to going deeper into it for yourself. All right. Have a great day on purpose and stay mindful, everyone. Namaskar.